Hi everyone, I'm Matt, and this is making dollars and cents at the box office weekend 44. Going down in pretty significant flames this weekend was Sony's Inferno, starring Tom Hanks with the less than smoldering figure of $14.8 million, landing at spot number 2 this weekend on the box office charts. Despite only having a budget of $75 million, the film still opened to $10 million less than what the studio expected it to, and overall, it's still $22 million shy of where it should be right now to be considered doing domestically well. But really, perspective is the most important thing here, because last weekend the film brought in $95 million internationally, and this weekend brought in $36 million internationally as well, so overall its global cume is up to $147 million. But while the flames internationally are burning pretty brightly, the coals back here at home domestically are growing colder, and I think the reason for that is that fans of the franchise are kind of getting tired of the same old motif. While I myself was really intrigued by this, the latest in the Robert Langdon series, it was very obvious how it followed in the same type of plot structure as its two previous predecessors. Inferno didn't really bring a whole lot to the table in the way of freshness or pure originality, and that didn't attract any new fans to the franchise. On top of that, it's been nearly 7 years since we had the last installment in this franchise release, so fans of the franchise already were just clearly not all that amped up to go see it. Those two elements combined clearly made for the Black Plague for this film. Yes, Inferno won't be making as much profit for Sony as 2009's Angels and Demons or 2006's The Da Vinci Code, but it is notably burning up through the international markets really significantly, and by the end of its international run, I wouldn't be surprised if this film pulls in $350 to $400 million. And this weekend, the China premiere of this film saw $13 million come in, just $1.8 million less than the domestic results. This just shows that China is creeping closer and closer to closing the gap between the America-China box office. So while there is a little bit of silver lining to the apocalypse this film seems to be experiencing right now, Ron Howard's directing, on the other hand, seems to be stuck in a state of arrested development. Following his 2013 Rush and his 2015 In the Heart of the Sea, Inferno must be feeling like Ron Howard's personal hell. And reigning at the top of the box office this weekend was Boo, a Madea Halloween which was killing it at theaters as it only saw a 39.6% drop between its first and second weekend performances. Given that the film was projected to drop by 55% this weekend, it still brought in $17.2 million, bringing its domestic cume up to $52.5 million, which just shows that the A grade that it received from opening day moviegoers was on point. While I really liked Inferno and did think that the B+ it received on CinemaScore was fitting, I'm not too surprised that Madea did take the top of the box office. If it's the Halloween bill better than Inferno does, it's easier to digest than an on-the-edge-of-your-seat biological pandemic thriller, and Hanks' performance, while being okay, was not his best in recent history. So overall, I think audience members were just not infatuated with Inferno. So looking ahead to next weekend, we have some serious spectacle coming to theaters with Marvel's Doctor Strange starring Benedict Cumberbatch. Doctor Strange is a psychological trip through other dimensions, focusing on, yes, yet another white man being some sort of chosen one. That said, early reviews of this film have praised the performances and the visual effects, arguing that these refreshing aspects make up for the stereotypical origin story. The film just opened to $86 million from 33 overseas territories, meaning it just made back half its budget. So really, at this point, it is smooth sailing for this film. What with opening to 3,800 theaters here in the States and continuing its international expansion into territories like China and Russia this coming weekend, Doctor Strange is taking the top of the box office. And also opening this weekend in nearly 4,000 theaters, we have Fox's Trolls, starring Anna Kendrick and Justin Timberlake. Trolls is an animated family kids film about the overly optimistic leader of the Trolls coming face to face with her first real problem. Packed full of colors and dance music, and coming hot off the Halloween season as we start to dive into our family films and Oscar season, this is a great frontrunner with some serious star power and a great alternative for families needing a film to go see that the whole group can enjoy. And speaking of Oscar season, we have Mel Gibson's latest directorial piece, Hacksaw Ridge, premiering in 2,700 theaters. Hacksaw Ridge is the true story of U.S. Army medic Desmond T. Doss, who was a Christian conscientious objector to violence during World War II, choosing to attempt to save lives rather than to take them. Despite being a truly intriguing and really powerful look at war through the eyes of a pacifist, this film does have one glaring element going against it: its director. Gibson has only continued to draw more and more controversy to himself since Passion of the Christ, and while I am a staunch advocate of not judging the art by the artist, it does have to be considered and weighed nonetheless. But either way, this is one to keep on your radar this Oscar season. And that's it for this week. Make sure to go out to theaters this coming weekend and tune in next week when we have our very first special guest host. And remember, if you like this film, click subscribe, comment if you want to join the conversation, and we'll see you next week on Making Dollars and Cents at the Box Office.